Hey everyone, Steve here with Muse Themes. Excited today to show you a new theme called Enlight. Now, Enlight is based off a church or community organization site, and we decided to keep this one quite simple. We wanted just a really basic layout that somebody could easily edit, throw in different hero images, make use of some of the widgets, but we didn't go widget crazy on this one, and just build a really solid site using it. So Enlight, when you land on it here, has this really great hero image slider, and I'll take you through how to set this up later on in the video. But as you can see, we can kind of transition along these different areas. These are actually the thumbnails for the slider, and we get different messages and different images behind. We've got a bit of a unique layout below with these circles. And these play buttons here, when you open them, they actually open up a unique video page. So you can see we've got an Apple video here, and you can jump to the next video. And we've included some different styles of video players within here. Right now, this is YouTube. If I go to the next one, we actually have a YouTube player, but we've hidden the controls and we've added a bit of a gradient. So I'll run through that a little bit later as well. Let me jump back to the home page here. And so if we go into our mission page, you can see we have a different layout here. Our sermon library, we've actually added in the Mumbler widget here. So we wanted to show you an example of how Mumbler could be used. Now, it was very difficult to find a church-themed Tumblr blog to pull in here. So we just went with something that was really image heavy, and we laid it out in this 3-column grid. But you can easily revise this to point to your own Tumblr. You don't even need to change the style. So it's pretty slick. Next up, we have an events page, and on the events page, we actually did this Google Calendar in a light box. So when you move over the view the calendar, then you can select a date, and you can kind of transition through the various months in the calendar. And of course, with Google Calendar, you click on an event, and it pops up in a new window. So that's a pretty cool little integration there. And lastly, we have a contact page where we've got a donation button. And so there we just did the default PayPal donation widget. And you can see here it says you can make a donation and make this monthly or recurring. So it's a pretty cool theme, but you know what? Super easy to edit as well. So let me jump into Muse and show you how some of these finer details work. So when you first download the theme and you extract it, you'll see that you have the Muse file, and then you also have an assets folder. And we've actually broken down the assets folder this time into 3 subfolders. So you've got a hero slider. This is where those circle hero images are that you're seeing on the home page. Then we've got an icons folder. This is just full of icons and SVG files. Then we've got an images folder. Then the images folder, in this case, we've actually included the images that we used in the original template, but we put an overlay on them, so they're basically not usable. Now, we can't include stock photography with our themes because the photos just aren't licensed to be redistributed to thousands of users. But this way, at least you get the originals and you can kind of swap them out a little bit easier. So let me go ahead and just open up that Muse file. So when I open the file here in Muse, you can see in the plan view our layout is pretty simple. We've got all our top level pages, and then these sub-level pages below are actually the videos. So first let's jump into that hero slider. I could see that being kind of the more confusing one of the bunch. So that's just on the home page here, and I'll zoom out a little bit. So the way that we did this is it's a slideshow widget. So you can see when I click on it, it says in the top left that it's a slideshow. This is the caption area here where we've got a message and a button placed. These boxes below are actually the thumbnails for the slideshow. But instead of using the images in the slideshow, or rather in the thumbnail boxes, what we've done is we've applied a stroke to the top of the box. So you can see here there's a stroke applied, and it's a 1 pixel weight stroke on the very top. When the item is active, that stroke is at 100% transparency. When the item is not active, and let me change the state, you see how it kind of reduced itself in weight? That's because we've changed the transparency to only 50%. So that's what creates kind of this forward and back sliding, kind of almost like a timeline effect. So the easiest way to swap out your images in this slider is you can just click on the first one here, right click and go replace image and select something new. So that will replace the current one that's there. You could also add a new image. So what I'd recommend to do that is just make sure you're on the last image within your slider. Then let's go up to the flyout panel here. This is the default Muse slideshow widget panel. And let's go add images. Let's select something new. So I have a image in the images folder here called give, and it's just a picture of hands that we've used on another page. So let's open that. And there. So now that this image is in, you can see that we have actually another thumbnail here that's been added. So our arrow is kind of out of place. We could just move this over and kind of recenter all these. And you could even make them a little bit smaller if you're going to add a ton of images in here. See how they're all kind of shrinking down, and then just tighten them back up like this. And you can add as many images in here as you want. So now when I click on this last thumbnail here, you can see it's showing our new image. Of course, we'd revise our messaging and that sort of thing to better match. But that's how you can quickly edit this hero slider. It's really clever design. Looking down on the rest of the page, you can see these large PNG images here. Those are in the assets folder, in the images folder. And you can see that they're just circles with a transparent background there. So you can easily revise these and swap them out, or you could even save over them and just update the assets. Moving on to our video area, you can see all the videos are these kind of sub-level pages below. And if I just click into one of them, all we have here is a YouTube widget. This is the standard Muse YouTube widget. So if I click on the background, it says YouTube, and then there's a flyout panel here. And this is just where we enter the video ID from YouTube, and you can change any of the controls that you want to show. If you want to show or hide controls, you want to allow full screen, etc. We also have these arrows that are inside a little composition that adds a little bit of an animation or kind of transition effect to it. So what we have these doing is actually just linking to the next video. So if I click on the arrow itself, looking in the hyperlinks box here, you can see it says it's linking to video 2. So we could change this in the drop down to be any of the other videos that we've maybe added on to our site. Let's take a quick look at that Google Calendar integration here. So on the events page, we've got this light box pop-up that we have coming up through a composition widget. And within that, we've got Google Calendar. Now, this is one of our widgets, and it's really easy to use. All you do is open up the flyout panel, and you can enter in your Google Calendar ID. And we've just changed some of the styling controls. There is a video specifically for Google Calendar on the widget page, so check that out if you have any questions about it. But it's basically embedded within this composition. So as you know, a composition works based on a trigger and target. So in this case, this View Calendar button is the trigger, and this big area here is the target. And we just have it set in the options panel to show on rollover and to fade in. So that's how the Lightbox calendar works. On the donation page or the contact page of this site, we've got that donation button, and you can see it here. So this is actually built right into Muse. We didn't custom code this widget. You can find this widget in your widgets library under the social folder, and it says here PayPal. So when you drag that out, you have a couple of options on the setup page, and we've used custom donate. So you could use a donate button, in which case you'd get this kind of default PayPal style. Or if you do custom donate, then you can add something a little bit more interesting like we've done with the PayPal logo. So from there, all you need to do is you need to set up all of your various settings, so who you're paying, and then the user is redirected to the PayPal site to enter in an amount, set it up as recurring, and complete the payment. I think that about covers it from a widget standpoint. As I said, this theme is quite simple and really easy to edit. So other than those widgets that I've shown here, the rest of this is just simple Muse text, images with fills applied where you can simply swap them out, or you can always overwrite the existing images in the folder and simply update the assets. So that's an overview of the Enlight template. Let us know if you have any questions or concerns. Thanks again and enjoy. Cheers.